Hi, I'm Suze Shaner, and I'm your host today of Community Forum. And I have the great pleasure to have with me today John Boccuzzi, who is a co-founder of BD Provisions, and I'll say a serial entrepreneur. Welcome, John.
Thank you so much, Suze. Appreciate you having me on the show.
Thanks for coming on. I want to make sure I said your name correctly.
You did a great job. John Boccuzzi, yep.
Boccuzzi, okay.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I got that.
You got it right.
Okay, so we're going to talk about a number of things, your current business, but before we do that, can you just give us an overview on your background in terms of how your career has evolved and developed business-wise, but also in terms of being, I'll say, a steward of the environment and how that kind of came into play?
Yeah, it's a great question. My story of entrepreneurship starts pretty young. So I was involved pretty early in small business, and it came from a show back in the 80s with Michael J. Fox in it. And he always went to school with a briefcase, Family Ties.
Family Ties.
Yeah. So it dates me a little bit, but I was intrigued by the show, and I said, God, someday I want to own a business. I want to be an entrepreneur. And from there, I went on to high school, joined Junior Achievement, which is a program in high schools and elementary, teaching people about economics. So it fostered kind of the entrepreneurial spirit. Went to Bryant University.
That's a university that has a strong business school.
Strong business school, very focused on entrepreneurship. That was my degree.
So your degree was in entrepreneurship?
Yeah, entrepreneurship and management.
So you knew from watching Family Ties?
Yeah.
Was his name Michael Keaton or something?
Michael,
no, not Michael.
Michael J. Fox.
No, but what was his character's name? It was like Keaton.
Keaton, yeah.
Something. Anyway, Michael Keaton. He's an actor. But so you knew from watching that show that you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah, from a very early age, from watching that show. I just thought it was so neat. He was like always dressed nice, and he had the briefcase. It just cracked me up.
Where's your briefcase?
Yeah, where's my briefcase? I left it at home now. It's right. I have a phone that has everything I need.
Right. Okay, so you go to school in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And then where did you go from there?
I went back and actually worked for Junior Achievement, a non-for-profit that helped me become an entrepreneur for 3 years.
So when you were in high school, you were in Junior Achievement.
Yeah.
That's so funny because in high school, I was in Junior Achievement.
Oh my God.
And then I went to work for a company and I did it in the evenings coaching the kids.
Love it. That's the evening program. It's my favorite program.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
So you were in Junior Achievement in high school, and then when you graduated college, you worked for Junior Achievement?
I worked for the program. So I actually was facilitating, getting the volunteers, getting the students, the recruitment. And ultimately, after I went on to run a couple different businesses, I became a board member. So we always laugh is that I started as a student and ended as a board member of the Junior Achievement.
That's a great story, though.
It's a fun story. I'm very proud of the organization.
That's the whole life cycle. That's really what you want, right? The whole life cycle.
Yeah.
Starting you as a baby in high school to being an entrepreneur and then coming back and advising the organization.
Yeah.
That's a very cool story.
It was fun. It was rewarding, and it was something I always thought about, like that would be neat. Yeah. And as it just evolved, it happened. And so I have that program to thank for a lot of it as well. So I went, and after that, I went off and started a couple little businesses that weren't successful, like all great entrepreneurs, tons of failures. So you fail fast.
So that's okay, but tell us about some of the failures, because this could be educational for people.
Yeah. So
if you're okay with it.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Bearing the soul.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I went off and I had this idea that I was going to do beer brewing back in, this is like the early 1990s.
You were ahead of your time.
I was ahead of my time, like, unfortunately. So I was like, I had all the beer brewing equipment, selling the equipment out of my apartment, and I just couldn't make a go of it. And then I built a business plan around opening a brewery in downtown Stamford. And ultimately, 7 years later, a brewery opened up in the same building. It was ironic.
You were ahead of your, because now it's the thing.
I had no idea what I was doing. It was really the biggest issue. So
that's a problem.
That's a problem. So passion will take you only so far.
Right,
so you've got to, as an entrepreneur, you've got to ground yourself in, what the business is, and then grab mentors as quickly as possible around you to fill in the gaps with regards to the strengths and weaknesses, right? And I think that's what I learned was I had the foundation of the right ideas, but I didn't have the accounting and all these other areas to match up. So I always now look for, when I do businesses, is where's my yin and yang? So I know that I'm the sales and marketing, so where's my finance person? And that'll lead into even the BD Provisions, which is the business today, is one of the co-founders. He's a CFO by practice. So we're a perfect yin and yang because I have all the sales and marketing, he's got all the finance background. So that was a big lesson up front, and so ultimately unfortunately, that didn't work out. The brewery didn't work out. The coffee shop I started back then didn't work out. I was actually selling coffee in my early 20s, and here I am now, 52, and I'm actually doing it successfully. Yeah.
But you know what? Again, you were probably ahead of your time, because now
before Starbucks,
these local coffee shops is where it's at, and the breweries.
Yeah.
So you had the vision, but it sounds like, so you obviously had a lot of business training at Bryant.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And through Junior Achievement.
Yeah.
And when you went to apply it real time, you realized that you didn't have people around you that filled in your gaps.
Yeah, you got to have the gap filling. You know, like all great entrepreneurs, there are very few that can do it all on their own. You know, even the greats, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, you know, they had other people that filled in the gaps for them as well. They obviously have done incredibly well, so I'm humbled by them. But I think it's important to realize that none of these people are individuals. They're surrounded by other interesting individuals that add value to the overall mechanics.
So I'm curious. So when the first 1 or 2 failures happened, whatever.
Yeah.
So did you have funding, and then you went bust, or how did you kind of pick yourself up?
I took out all the money I had from saving up for my first 3 years of working for Junior Achievement, and lost all of it.
So you invested all of your life savings at that point?
All my life savings into that first business, and
what
all
happened
of it was
to you
gone.
when that happened?
You know, it's not a great moment, but
I mean, like, really, because a lot of people would have been like, whatever, I'm going to go get a job.
Yeah, I struggled with that. Like, to me, as I felt like it was a lesson learned, it was just more education, and I just went and got a job, because, you know, then I had no money, so it's time to get a job.
So you had to build back up again.
So I had to build back up again, right? And so I went on, and I had a job in New York City selling software technology. And then I met the woman of my dreams, and Cynthia, my wife, and I didn't want to commute from Newtown to New York.
Okay.
So I said,
so life's looking up now.
Life is looking much better.
You got a good job. You meet the woman of your dreams.
She's got me totally focused now. Like Cynthia, like boom, she's got laser focus.
That.
Yeah, she's phenomenal.
That's good.
So I was like, all right. So I told the recruiter, I said, you know, I don't want to commute to New York. Can you find me a technology company in and around Newtown? And son of a gun, they found a company called Bristol Technology, and they did cross-platform development, which is really geeky. Like, these are the guys and the men and women that are like on the negative 20th floor in the basement coding, out in Silicon Valley. And that's what we were developing. So really stuff I had no experience in. But I went in, and it's just an example of being able to come in, articulate what you have to offer, show energy and enthusiasm, and show the willingness to be a quick learner. And within 6 months, I was the top salesperson for the company.
So obviously you got smart about the technology.
Yeah, I didn't know it. Like, I would never be as smart as most of the people in the company.
Well, you're not an engineer.
Yeah.
You're a salesperson.
I'm a salesperson.
But you got smart enough to be able to speak to it, and obviously with your people skills, build relationships and rapport with people, so they'll listen to you.
Yes,
and you can bring in the technical guys.
Absolutely. You need to understand what business problems does somebody have, and then how do you apply the things that you offer to solve those business problems, and that's what I was really, really good at.
Okay.
So that company had a really unique program, which was perfect for an entrepreneur, because these were all startup guys. Kevin Blackwell and Gene Blackwell and Ken Blackwell, 3 Blackwells started the company.
Related?
Related, yeah. 2 brothers and a wife.
You're like 3 Blackwells. Like, is that a coincidence?
Yeah, no, totally not related. No, they were related. So they had a competition, and they did cross-functional teams. And again, remember the weaknesses, right? Filling in the gaps.
Yes.
So they took an accountant, a finance person, a person from marketing, a person from sales, a person from HR, and they bundled us into 5 groups. And we had 2 weeks to come up with a new product idea. So I was on a team.
That's a great idea.
It was phenomenal, right?
Great idea.
Yeah, and we developed ultimately 3 products from that competition.
I mean, it's a great idea, because you're integrating these cross-functional teams and different ways of working and thinking multidimensionally.
That's right, 100%. It's filling in the gaps, right?
It's innovation.
If I had that group when I was opening up the brewery, I'd probably have a better shot, right? So that's what this group was about, was the finance person could bring the numbers to the table, right?
Yeah.
I could bring the sales and marketing. Well, we ended up getting 2nd place in the competition, but
Bummer. Why did you get first?
The engineer on our team didn't vote for us. He didn't vote because he didn't think, he didn't know, right? We always joke about it because he ended up being one of the co-founders of this new business. They liked it so much they co-founded, gave us funding to start the company, and that ended up becoming Kenosha.
Wait, that was one of your ideas?
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah, it was very cool.
So it was really like it was like a think tank EBO, emerging business opportunity, right?
And that's what this company did, was they knew they wanted to expand and make sure that they, things fade, right? So what's the next thing? So we created Kenosha. We sold technology to consumer packaged goods companies, Procter & Gamble, Nestle, Sharing Plow, First Brands right here in Danbury. Incredible technology. And we became the #1 seller of data integration tools in our industry in less than 18 months.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and ultimately built it up to just over 10 million. We sold it. I became their CEO for I was their CEO for 3 years. We ultimately sold to a venture capitalist, which was a great experience. So learning all about that kind of process. And then I was like, all right, what am I going to do now? I'm still young.
Can I pause you there for a second? Because, wow, that's a lot of stuff in a short period of time. And going from, in your apartment trying to create a brewery, sell some coffee, to this.
Yeah.
So clearly this was a game changer for your career in every way.
Yeah.
What were some of your greatest learnings from that experience?
Yeah, it was a great opportunity for me to start understanding how to manage and work with other people, right? So sales sometimes can be individualistic, right? So you've got a quota, you go out, you get the number. You're on a sales team, but it can be siloed.
Yeah.
So running a sales organization and being the manager of the group and then ultimately becoming the CEO, I had to learn how to navigate a lot of things. And I wasn't always perfect, believe me. I mean, I think some of the people that worked with and for me would say he did a really amazing job, and other people would say he had shortfallings and here's where they were. And I'm open and honest with that, and I'm okay with it, because I think it was still a growth and learning opportunity for me.
I mean, going from being even a top salesperson, even somebody who contributes with some innovative thought leadership on product development, it's very different than being the CEO and running the entire organization.
It was different, and it allowed me to learn about more of the structure of the finance component of business, which I've never been a huge fan of. Like, it has to get done. It's super important. It's a must in a business.
But it's not really your thing.
It's not going to be the area I want to spend 7 hours of my day. I want to figure out that next thing, right? I want to figure out the next widget.
Yeah.
So that's, again, finding those partners to kind of to really shore that stuff up.
How did you get comfortable and smart about the operations and financial end of things?
So ironically,
it's not your natural inclination.
No, so it wasn't. So I had mentors, I had coaches that I just found that were people in the finance world, and I just said, look, teach me and run me through this. I also ironically pulled out, I had saved a couple of my textbooks from college.
Study up.
And I studied up. I studied up.
Good for you.
Yeah, and so
I mean, that shows a certain sense of being honest with yourself and humility.
Yeah.
And you saved some textbooks from college. And how many people, given where you were at, would think and be willing to do that?
Yeah, it was a lot, but it was worth it, because I felt like, I love this business. I was super passionate about it. And it also taught me with regards to like our ability to keep our customer base. So we had almost 100% retention of our client base. I mean, it was astonishing.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I'll just share one example and one story, and it's really a lesson that has now, gone through all of our businesses. Anything that I've started now is the customer experience component is critical. And when we first launched the software, Heinz Ketchup took a chance on us. They paid us $70,000 sight unseen on the technology. We sent them the CD and the software. They installed it. It didn't work. And so the vice president calls me up, John, the software's not working. What are we going to do? We invested all this money, blah, blah. I said, we'll have an engineer there by midday. So we got him there by 1 o'clock, because we were in Connecticut, so we could get on an airport in White Plains, shoot down to Pittsburgh. We were there by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the engineer. By 2 o'clock, they realized it was on their end a security issue.
Phew.
Yeah, well,
it's
phew.
Like, wow.
But you know what most importantly is? Heinz, I never sent them an invoice for this airline ticket or anything else, but Heinz sent us a check for significantly more than the cost of that engineer going down there that day. But they knew.
Because it was more like you were willing to do whatever it took.
They knew.
Like you were immediately responding.
We had their back.
Yeah.
And that's how our customers felt. So that's what earned a reputation for us in the marketplace. I mean, I would be able to have him have dinner with another executive to basically sell our technology to them. Keith and Kevin and Ken, they owned the majority of of this company because they invested the original money. And we went to one company, and they brought me into a room, and they said, listen, we're going to low bid this, but we're going to basically pay you a lot more money if you come on board and help us buy this company for cheap, on the cheap. So think about that, right? So financially for John Boccuzzi, great payday.
Yeah.
But for Keith and Kevin and Gene, and really for my own soul, not a great deal, right?
That puts you in a really awkward. So you were between these
so
two
I said no.
The people that funded you and the people that were going to buy it.
Yeah.
It was an ethical dilemma.
An ethical dilemma, and I said no. I said that's not how it's going to work. You're going to pay full price for the business because it's worth it. And they ended up not doing a deal with us, and I sleep every night really well. And we went and found another company.
Good for you.
Yeah, and I feel great about that to this day. And I was super proud of it because these are people that believed in me. And the last thing I was going to do was
throw them under the bus.
Throw them under the bus. Throw them under the bus for what? $1 million? That's not worth it to me. So to me, it was better to find. We found another company, a great organization. They had 9 other businesses. We got folded in. Ultimately, they wanted me to move to Boston and to be the CEO of 2 of these companies that got merged. And I just felt like after 10 years, it was an awesome run. I had done a lot of things, but I was ready to do something else. That was a long stint for John Boccuzzi. Yeah. Like 10 years in one business was a lot for me.
Especially for somebody who's a very entrepreneurial spirit, always want to be creating, doing different things.
That's it.
So now we're back to where I interrupted you.
Yeah.
So now you're here with your woman of your dreams. You now have kids in the equation.
Yeah. Got 2 amazing kids.
So now what?
Yeah. So now what? Exactly. That's what I said.
What?
So I was always social, as I had personality.
No, that surprises me somehow.
I know. Yeah. So I was at an event a year prior, and I was sitting with a CEO of a company, and we had hit it off. Anyway, he finds out through the grapevine that I'm no longer, I've left, Kenosha, calls me up out of the blue and says, would you consult with me a couple days a week? So for the next 2.5 years, I did financially incredibly well, helped him out substantially.
Just consulting with him a couple days a week?
A couple days a week. It was phenomenal.
So you had a chance to be with your kids?
I had a chance to be with my kids. I started another company called OT Solved.
Okay. No moss is growing under your feet.
No, I couldn't help myself.
Well, so I feel like maybe we'll have you on again just to talk about your whole career deep dive here, because I'm like, wow, I thought we've got like 10 more minutes now. We're like more than halfway through. So I'm like, wait a minute. I do want to get to BD Provisions. So we may have to go. So where does BD Provisions come into this equation?
So it's a great look.
So we will have to
it's a great
do
segue.
Deep dive on some other things.
It's a great segue. So Cynthia and I are on vacation in April of 2018.
Yeah.
And we're down in Florida visiting our parents. And so we go, my father-in-law says to me, hey, there's a store, you got to see it. It's a bulk store, you're going to love it, tons of food. And I was like, all right, I'll go check it out, whatever. I mean, I'm with my father-in-law, we're going to go see a store. We go in, there's all these bins, tons of food, and people are shopping. I'm like, God, there's a lot of people in here. And then I look at the ticket, and people are spending $40. And I'm like, that's interesting. So I say, hey, Dad, take me to that place tomorrow. So we go back the next day. Guess what? Still more people. So now it's clicking in my brain. I'm like, this is interesting. I've not seen it before, so I want to talk about it with Cynthia. So I said, Cynthia, and she goes, oh no, here we go. So she knows it's coming. So I said, look, at this one.
Another idea, another business.
What do you think about this? Is we do a bulk store, and she likes it. So now I'm scared because I'm like, you're supposed to kind of reject it. Yeah.
So you've had other ideas that she's like, no.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like I have between 3 to 5 ideas a week. And what she's supposed to do is reject them, and then we just move on. Like it's much better. Like that's how the relationship works for 23 years.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't do all these.
But somehow she fell off the cliff there, and she's like, no, I like this.
She liked it, so that got me scared. I was like, oh no, she likes it. So I went home and I said, let me call my friend Tony DePippa. So Tony and I, we spent 3 years together at Edible Arrangements.
Okay.
I was head of global sales. He was the CFO and chief operating officer for the company. We were based here in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And franchise. So this is where the franchising comes in.
With that,
So anyway, I call up Tony, and he's no longer with Edible, and I'm not with Edible. I said, Tony, I got a question for you. Here's what I'm thinking. Bulk food store, but we take a twist on it, and we go more environmentally friendly. Like, the idea of mason jars, elevate the experience. He goes, I love it. I was like, oh God, he loves it. Now I'm nervous. Wife likes it. Tony likes it.
You're getting in.
So now I'm getting in. I'm like, oh my God. So he talks to his wife, Tara DePippa, who's the other founder. She loves it. So now we're all in.
Because it's unique, even for this area.
Totally
in general,
unique.
it's unique.
Yeah, and they had coffee down there and stuff, but I said, what if we got our own coffee roaster? And the great thing about Tony and I, Tony is so supportive. So he says like, oh man, I love that idea. Let's get a roaster. So then we start doing research on roasters. We find this company that they make the roaster right here in America, Dietrich Roasters. And I fly out, we get the roaster. And from April of going on vacation, we opened our first store in Newtown in November 10th.
It's like 7 months from just saying, hey, that's a cool store to
finding real estate, building it out. It was a totally empty space. But Tony and I, again, now we've got a lot of years under our belt, right? So I've got technology experience, franchising experience. Tony's got Godiva experience.
So you're able to shortcut some things.
We were able to shortcut.
But doesn't it also feel like a little bit like it all just quickly fell? I mean, you've got great experience you're leveraging.
Yeah.
But you find the real estate, all these things just kind of fell into place. So doesn't it almost feel like, in a way, not to be woohoo about it, because obviously you've got some hard skills and some capital behind you, but that it was just meant to be?
It was totally a meant to be situation. I mean, it was the whole idea.
That's very quick.
Yeah, it would not have happened without the experience, even if it was a great idea. Like, that's the part about the having people with the yin and the yang. So Tony doing all the finance component, me doing all the sales and marketing
numbers,
component,
you put together your
Tara
plan.
doing all the social media, my wife doing all the operational components. So all four of us are heavily
So you all have
vested.
very clear, different, distinct roles that are tapping into your background experience. So we didn't even talk about you and Tony, but in terms of the wives, in terms of their backgrounds, like
so
their
Tara's
professional
social media marketing,
and that's her background.
She's got great experience in it.
Okay.
She works still for a major consumer packaged goods company today. We all have day jobs, and then our night job is BD Provisions.
So you all have day jobs. So you have these corporate jobs.
Yeah.
And you're able to tap into, it sounds like really a nice blend of things. So how do you, so there's so many directions I want to take this, but let's just start there. So how do you balance this with your day jobs?
Yeah, look, I work 10 to 12 hours on my day job.
Yeah.
And I was even in India for 10 days for my day job. So, you've got to do that first because that's what pays the bills.
Yeah.
But then, to me, it's not work. When you love what you do, and as an entrepreneur, that's part of it, right? Don't go into a business. If I was going to give advice to somebody, don't go into a business because you think, oh my God, I'm going to make millions.
Yeah.
Right? So that was early.
Passion there.
That was early John Boccuzzi. Like, I wanted to brew beer because I thought I was going to make millions. I didn't really want to brew beer, right? Like, that was something I like to drink
like
it.
the business, the business of the business.
Yeah, like so love what you do. So, roasting coffee, opening a store with low waste, zero waste, helping a community, those are passions. So if I'm working till midnight, it's not work, it's pleasure.
Well, so let's talk a little bit about that for a minute, because it's like you've got a societal, purpose-based sort of mission with the business. You didn't just open a store.
No.
So talk more about that and about zero waste. And,
So 5 years ago, 100% this would not have worked. 100%, because we weren't there as consumers. California a little bit, but really most of the country wasn't even close to being there. We had lots of lots of bags. Think about you go to Stu Leonard's. I love Stu Leonard's, but the plastic bag. You want to take pictures all over the world with your plastic.
Yeah. So we've got like 5 minutes, and I really wanted to drill down on this topic a little bit. So zero waste for your store.
Yeah.
Because you also do other cool things like compost.
Yeah.
I mean, I found out about this store. You don't even advertise. I walked in and I was like, why don't I know about this place?
Yeah, it's the best kept secret. I mean, we have a spot in Newtown, a spot in Fairfield, and we're getting the word out slowly, but it's been challenging with regards to like finding the right vehicle.
Because you really, so let's talk a little bit about how do you define zero waste, and how are you a zero waste
So
store?
The whole concept is when you come into our store, you can buy as much or as little as you want. So you're not wasting the food, right?
Yeah.
So if you only want 4 ounces of peanuts, just get 4 ounces of peanuts. You utilize a mason jar that we'll clean for you every time you come in.
That was amazing. I brought my own jars. You're like, no, you can't use them.
Yeah.
I was like, what? We're going to take them. We're going to clean them. I'm like, hey, that's a cool deal.
Yeah, in Fairfield you can bring your own, but in Newtown the different city laws make different with regards to health.
The other thing that I think is cool about your place, which is that you want people to sample. Who wants you to sample?
Yeah, we want you to sample. We want you to try before you buy. So the whole idea is if you come into our store, we want you to try, like for example, we have dill peanuts. It doesn't make any sense, I know, but they're the most delicious thing in the whole world. Yeah, it's crazy. Like when our store manager recommended them, was like, I don't know, but we like our store managers to have control, like, you know, so she got them. They're one of our #1 sellers.
That's amazing. They sound weird, but so what do you do to create zero waste in your store?
All right, so we have the mason jar refilling. So the idea, like, so if you think about it right now, this past year we saved over 16,000 bags, over 700 boxes of cereal, over 1,100 bags of coffee bags that are plastic. So the whole idea is when consumers come in, they're utilizing compostable bags that we offer. They're utilizing even cellophane that's compostable in our store. So a lot of the stuff that we're doing, we're not perfect, by the way. So one of the things I have to be careful about is we're not 100% zero waste. We're on a journey. We believe this journey is going to take us 10 or 20 years, right, as a society. So we're not all, we want to start, but we're not there yet, right? I'm still wearing clothes that, you know, aren't the most efficient, you know, clothes that are manufactured to be healthy for the environment, et cetera. So what I think why our store works so well is, no matter what your background is and where you are on your journey, our store is inviting to you. So if you're just beginning and you come into our store with plastic bags, welcome to BD Provisions. How can we help you?
We're taking those bags.
Yeah, we'll help you out and figure out it. We'll get you elevated. But if you're totally granola and you're wearing a hemp suit that you made and drove up on a bicycle that you built, we can help you too. Yeah, we can help you too. We have 1 or 2 of those, not many.
So I feel like the time is going by so quickly. So we could talk about so much more. Maybe I'll have you on again. So.
I'm sorry I got distracted with the background.
No, you didn't at all. You really just shared all your varied and different business background and experience, but I'm curious in terms of BD Provisions, what's the vision for where you want to take this? And how is it going in terms of, you've got 2 couples managing this business. That's a whole dynamic there too.
So a lot of people get nervous about that kind of stuff. Our relationship is tremendous. I mean, we have good dialogue and tough conversations, but we're always grounded in the fact that we care about each other. And that's super important. So the relationship of a partnership is critical, right? So you really need to know, am I going to be able to work with this person? And we kind of cheated, Tony and I, because we worked together for 3 years. So
but the 2 of you, but then you introduced the wives, right?
And it's been amazing. Knock on wood. I don't want to jinx it, but it's been incredible. And so the 4 of us make it work. Where we want to go is we'd like to open up a couple hundred of these over the next 5 years. So our goal is right now, this year we're going to plan on opening 2 more that'll be franchised, utilizing our franchise experience. And then from there, we'll like to open up 10. And then from there, just expand it beyond. So it's a big opportunity.
That is, and that's an incredible mission. And it also seems like the time is right for a socially conscious
it's only going to go, we're not going to give up. We're not going to say, hey, by the way, this was awesome that we were going to try to save the planet, but let's forget that. Yeah, people are in it. They're going to only get better.
Okay, so we're out of time, I'm sorry to say, but if somebody was interested in anything we talked about today, how would they reach you?
John at bdprovisions.com. That's my email.
John at bdprovisions.com.
Yep.
Okay, thank you so much for coming.
Suze, thanks so much.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm Suze Shaner. Until next time with Community Forum, thank you for joining us.